Shechiyanu v'kimanu v'giyanu lazman hazeh. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out in the Erev Yom Tif. Incredibly, to think that this is the third Siyum of Chazaka. Last year, we were in this room, a beautiful, tremendous Siyum, Baruch Hashem, with Kollel Ohr Shmuel. This year, we're here welcoming 13 other branches of Kollel Ohr Shmuel. A special thank you to Rabbi Sonnenschein from Cleveland, to Rabbi David Bronstein, Rabbi Kaufman from Waterbury coming in, Bells, Arma Vakshi, my dear brother-in-law Danny Kagan, Coventry, Tallymore, Walden Woods, Melissa Lee, Rabbi Turenshu, Morty Stiebel, Hampshire Hills, Bells, Jackson Pines. Absolutely incredible. Chazdei Hashem. I would just like to share with everybody one short story before we start the program. A couple of months ago, my father said over a beautiful story. A special thank you to my father and mother who are here tonight and joining us in the Siyum. My father said over a beautiful, short, powerful story. One time there was a contractor, a very successful contractor. And Baruch Hashem, he had many, many homes, and he had a main guy, Shimmy, who took care of everything. He was the person that did everything from A to Z. He was the one that was responsible for everything. It was basically Shimmy that did the entire job. Shimmy was there for many, many years. And after 30 years, he felt it was time for him to move on. So he came into his boss one day and he said, "Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the many years that we spent together, but I think it's time for me to kindly retire." The boss appreciated everything that Shimmy did for him. He said, "I wish you were here for longer, but I totally understand. You're here for many, many years. But just do me one favor. I ask you to please just build one final house. I have this person in my mind that he needs a top-notch house. Only you could do it. Please build this house, and then, of course, you go on your way." Shimmy couldn't say no. He said, "Of course, I have a karas hatayv." Anyways, the day that Shimmy started building the house, he was already 1 foot out the door. He was there for many years. It was time to go. So instead of usually, he made sure there were 10-foot ceilings. He put 7-foot ceilings. Instead of usually, he made sure there was, stucco or brick. He put in siding. And every step along the way, he was just trying to get by. Instead of the tiles, he did, I'm not sure. Instead of black windows, did regular windows. And Shimmy kept going. And after 3 months, everything he did, he cut corners, he was trying to get by. And he told his boss, instead of the house should have taken a year, it took 3 months. And he said, "Boss, the house is done. Here's the keys." The boss took the keys from Shimmy and he said, "Shimmy, thank you for everything you did for me. Here is your house." Shimmy couldn't believe it. Here he was building his house and he just did everything just to get by. And little did he know he was building his own house. So my father beautifully said how so many times in life, how we have mitzvahs from Hashem. Hashem tells us what to do. And we think that we're doing it for Hashem. We think we're doing it just for Hashem. We don't realize that we're building our own home. We're doing it for ourselves. We make the mistake. We think we're getting by, but Hashem's giving us the opportunity for ourselves. Every person sitting in this room here tonight, every man and woman, live by the facts that we know that we live and we do things for ourselves. Waking up 6 o'clock in the morning, morning after morning, it's not easy. Nobody's sitting, clapping, telling you you're great, cheering you on in the dark, cold cars when you're going. Yet here we are, we do it morning after morning. The women, nobody's telling them how great they are, giving up their entire morning themselves, telling the husbands to go out to learn. Because we understand that we're sitting here building our own homes. We're building our true, beautiful homes. And we're not going to go and cut corners. We're doing this for ourselves. Mitzvah, we should be zeicha to continue building our homes, the beautiful homes that we have, until we build the ultimate home of Yerushalayim, of the Beis HaMikdash, Yerushalayim, Heir V'Yameinu. Amen. At this time, I would like to, before I call up a beautiful bracha from the Rav, we'd like to give tremendous hakaras hatayv to the Rav, Rabbi Saratsky, who just finished a project of millions of dollars. just for one reason, that we can go and expand and keep going. He felt that in the morning people were wasting 3-4 minutes looking for a parking spot. He said, build a new parking lot. Just want to say, be aware to everybody near the Lutsk area, because Baruch Hashem, those parking lots are full. On behalf of the entire Kollel, I'd like to say to the Rav, thank you for everything. Hashem should bench the Rav, give kayachas until she's Mashiach to the kingdom here of Yemen. At this time, I'd like to everybody to pay attention to the video and to have divrei bracha from the Rav.
When we reflect back on the past few years of Kollel Ohr Shmuel, there's a Gemara that comes to mind. When we started the Kollel, we were learning Masechtas Megillah, and we all learned the Gemara and Daf Yud Amud Beis. Amar Rab Levi, Davar Zeh Mesoris Si Be'adeinu Mi'aviseinu Mokim Ha'oren Eina Min Amida. There's a Mesorah that the place of the Oren is not counted in the measurements of the Beis HaMikdash, and that's because Torah is not something that can be confined. Torah is infinite. And I remember when we started the Kollel, we were thinking that how we're going to get together early in the morning, a group, maybe we'll get together a group of 10 people, Maishi and Fivish and Yechiel Rivlin were coming every day to try. There was a time that it was only Yechiel that was coming, but we thought, how are we going to get an oilam that's going to come together early in the morning to come and shtal avek a Kollel that should be an Eloi from the neshama of the Heilige neshama of Shmuel, and to see the Kollel evolve into what it has become today is no chiddush, because when you're talking about Torah, Torah is not something that it's shaykh to be confined. You can't take the Torah and confine the Torah. Torah is infinite. The state that Torah is meruba me'eretz mida rechavim min hayam, and when you do something l'shem shemayim, as this Kollel was built with no other ulterior motive, just to be marabik v'yitremayim, just to be marab limud HaTorah. And that's the secret of the success of the Kollel. The Kollel is built on just Torah, and Torah is something which expounds without any limits, without any limitations. And there's another secret which my father had mentioned one time when he came over here and he spoke in the beginning when we started the Kollel, and he said that the Panavish Rav, when he was building Panavish, they made a Nachas Even Apina, and the Panavish Rav was so pent up with his emotions that he burst forth and he started crying. And the Chazon Ish was standing right next to him. The Chazon Ish said, Vei noch. You cry more. He said, because Hazoyrim Bedima Berina Yiktzoyru. When something's built on Dima, something is built on tears and sorrow, you take those tears and you shtal it avek in the binyan, then the binyan has that tzlocha that's l'mala miderech hateva. So here's a binyan of Torah, which Torah we know has no boundaries, and it's built together with the Hazoyrim Bedima, that Moshe took Moshe and his Rebbetzin, they took their eigen etzara and they used it as a chetimtza to build Torah. So besides to the fact that we've seen such a tremendous growth in the shul, and no matter how many expansions we can have in the shul, and how big we can make the Beis Medrash, it's still not enough to accommodate Kollel Ohr Shmuel. Today, Kollel Ohr Shmuel is a household name around the world. Whether you go to Cleveland, Ohio, or you go to Waterbury, or you go to Jackson, Toms River, you go around Lakewood in different areas. There's Bati Midrashim, and everybody comes over there at 6 o'clock in the morning. You want to know what's going on over here. Kollel Ohr Shmuel. This is the koyach of the Heilige Neshama of Shmuel, the koyach of the Mesiras Nefesh of Moshe and his Rebbetzin, the koyach of the Mesiras Nefesh of all the Chavrei HaKollel that come up, they get up early every single morning, and their wives who make sure that their husbands encourage their husbands and let their husbands come to learn early in the morning, even when the times are tough. That Mesiras Nefesh is something that we see the fruition, we see the fruits of our labor every single day as the Kollel expands, and it has become what it has become today, something which is not shaykh to imagine the growth that this Kollel will have, that tzlocha that the Kollel will have. Wherever anyone from the Kollel, they move out and they go to a different area, they want to have Kollel Ohr Shmuel. They can't it becomes a part and parcel of them, and they can't exist without it. And they go and make another branch of Kollel Ohr Shmuel. Now already, B'li Ayin Hora, there's 14 branches of Kollel Ohr Shmuel, but that's just the beginning. You're going to see how Kollel Ohr Shmuel goes Michayil al Choyil, and this chus of the riboy of Torah, the riboy of K'vay Shemayim, will all be zeicha to be mishtatif in Kollel Ohr Shmuel in Yerushalayim HaKodesh v'Meheira.
תשלח ברוחו והצלוחו בכל מסע יודעני ויהיו חיים פרנסו סייני מיודך ורחובו ויהבה מלאביו ולא יצטרך עמכו בייס ישראל זה לזה ולא לימה בחיים ובסי לכל איש ואיש די פרנסו סוי ולכל גביו וגביו תתניו דבר מחסוירו ישמעי וסוכי שלב בגוריים ובשים לבייס מקדושייני מוי וספרתייני מוי יוי 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 וסחיס שלא איש ישראל וספו של רחמי אקסיבי ובסוי ירוס לבחו
Oy besifataini
oy 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 shloy shesra ubido isecho shel rachme haksbe oy besoy yero sevavecho kemoy sheimal hoy Hashem Mashiach uy kail Oy 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 el khapay verab khayser yebes oy yom hay oy moy tsir khased lo balo fi min oy sayum oy ufesh oy khatum o benachkai
We'd like to ask everybody, it's a beautiful, beautiful video presentation of how Kollel Ohr Shmuel went from one Kollel and Baruch Hashem, Blian Hara, to where it is now with 14 branches. I'd like to also just give a mention to one special individual who had a vision, who sat me down and he said, Faivish, the same way we have this here in Beis Medrash Lutsk, we have to have this all over the world. Special thing, this is one saying his name, but special thank you to Rabbi Yamin Mandelbaum for taking this and making it. Hashem should give you tremendous bracha, he bench you with tremendous mazel, and only nachas for your beautiful family.
As I think back to 3 years ago, getting up from Shiva, after losing my precious Shmuel, calling my friend Faivish and asking him to help start a kollel, the few courageous people that said they can get up at 6 a.m. to learn was something that Karas HaTov, there's no words to say thank you to those people and to the Rabbeinu Shleilam.
The Hatzlacha of Kollel Ohr Shmuel is our Shmuel, the light of Shmuel Galus. That his parents, Moshe and Batsheva, were able to go at the most difficult time when nobody should be tested of what they were tested, and to get it from Shiva and say, we're going to establish a kollel, Nishmas their son Shmuel. We can't even begin to describe the neshama that it is of Shmuel Galus.
Coming to our Shmuel, in the beginning, when it first opened up, there were, I think it was 8 guys. I had me and my chavrusa Avram Moshe Ribiat. We took up the right corner of the base medrash. It wasn't so lonely, but we didn't have that loud of a noise when you walked in.
It started a small corner in the front, which spread and spread and spread. We had a very special friend of ours, Benjamin Mandelbaum, that brought in the Daf Yomi Chabur over there. And one day we realized there was no more room and we had to expand. The Rav did everything possible to make that happen. And today, we're moving into a base medrash that's double the size.
I've been driving it every morning to Lutsk, and I sing thank you Hashem, because every morning it makes no sense. Everybody's exhausted. It's so much easier to push snooze and to have hundreds of people waking up morning after morning after morning. So of course it's unbelievable. Thank you Hashem. Baruch Hashem, we're lucky enough to have the Kollel in Beis Medrash Lutsk. A Beis Medrash that's open to everybody. Such chesed. Everybody that walks in the door, it's such warmth, led by the Rav that took the Kollel and made it part of his family. Everything that was necessary, from A to Z, gave over the warmth of that's welcome everybody, exactly what Lutsk is. And we were lucky enough to establish this Kollel in the Beis Medrash.
If so many people could come learn from all the neighborhoods in the area, why can't we do this in other communities? And it's something that Rebbeinu Shalom put into my heart to reach out to other people to see if that can happen.
So I'm sitting in Meir Birnbaum's office one Friday, and in walks Maishi Galus. And Maishi turns to me and says, how about we start a Kollel in your shul? I'm thinking 6:15 in the morning, it's early, but out of the blue, a few days later, I bump into Maishi Schindler, and Maishi tells me, starts talking to me about the Kollel, it's unbelievable, open in Tallimore, and the Rain Tree, and what an impact it's having. So, having seen that, decided we have to go ahead with it, and Taka, it's Mamish Kiddush Hashem Nifla, unbelievable. Ellen comes 6:15 in the morning, the Kol Torah, it's Hafel Fella.
Really all began, I used to see videos time from time of Kollel Ohr Shmuel, the first branch in Lutsk, and just watching those videos, it was truly inspiring. I approached Moshe at a Vart, and I ran the idea by him. I said, Coventry, this is where you lived, everyone knows you, there's no reason why we can't open a branch. What do you think? Moshe liked the idea. He put me in touch with Fivish Waxman. Literally every single thing, A to Z, they helped me, walk me through, and Baruch Hashem, we were zeicha to have a Kollel in Coventry for about a year now. Just to be able to see Shmuel and to know him on a personal level, what used to radiate from him was that Simchas HaChaim, and coming from his parents that would imbue and instill the Simchas HaChaim in him, and to be able to see that b'poil and a kollel, that every single day you have such achdus and a Simchas HaChaim from everybody learning together, is truly remarkable and inspiring. And I moved out to a new neighborhood in Hampshire Hills, Bridal neighborhood. We started a new kollel over there. Baruch Hashem, it's also took off. We already have 15 members, and there's no greater satisfaction than be able to look back at that.
The Kol Torah and the energy, when you walk into the Tallimore Beis Medrash, you walk into it, the energy that's there, you can touch it. That's how powerful it is. And we have a beautiful Kehillah, and Moshe lives by us. We're Zoicha to have Moshe live by us. There's a schus, and if you look back, the story with Shmuel happened a week or two after he moved into Tallimore. You see how Rebbeinu Shalom runs the world. He came to Tallimore, the Kollel spread, Tallimore is now part of it. It's a beautiful thing that's going on in the world, Baruch Hashem.
The Kollelim started more and more bottom midrashes. In Am by itself, if you ask me, is Poshet Kinas Soifrim Tar B'Chochmeh. I feel bad. Why in my Beis Medrash? Why Balebatim, Erlech Gute Balebatim? Why did they don't have the opportunity to start the day in the same way? My son Elimelech is the person who take care, call Fivish in Eskem and advise every single shayle. Because I say to my son, they have an experience, they know what to doing, try to copy. That's it. No chidushim. You can see people what they change. The way is anders, the tefillah is anders. In the Siyata Dishmaya, in Parnose, Belia in Hora, is very clear. Is Torah. People come together even after they have a breakfast. Ahavas Reim, sit together. You have time to your friend. You're not very busy. You start the way in the right way. I wish as the Koyach HaTorah from the Yisoid from the Mlutzka Besmedresh Be'ezer Hashem Bechol Mekoymois Moishvoiseyem Shel Bnei Yisrael. This is the Sestvet Zayin, this is Zayin the Ruach from every Elach HaBalabos to wake up in the morning early, to learn Torah, to daven, to go to the Inyone Amichya Ve'akalkola, and have a lot of tzlocha in the old business, Be'ezer Hashem.
The Waterbury Shtibel was looking to bring in some sort of a kollel, and somebody had suggested this Kollel Ohr Shmuel in Lakewood that seems to be very matzliach. Maybe we should look into it. Right after that, Shimshi Brescher got a phone call from a close friend of his, Mati Gellis, and Mati suggested, let's do this. And Shimshi said, okay, let's give it a try, and give it a try they did.
Fivish Waxman's passion for Torah is contagious. So contagious that we caught it here in the Waterbury community. It started with one Kollel Ohr Shmuel, and now every shul in Waterbury has a morning Kollel. Those who are learning in the Kollel have a new energy throughout their entire day, both in their learning, their tefillah, and even their family life.
It goes without saying that this is not a kollel that belongs to Waterbury. It's also not a kollel that Lakewood feels belongs to Lakewood. This was something done with a vision of Klal Yisrael. And I could tell you, just from schmoozing with people, everybody wants to join.
Kollel Ohr Shmuel is a very unique kollel. The foundation is built on people who are not in yeshiva. When I was living in Lakewood and I was working and I was traveling, it was the foundation of my whole day. When I came here, I felt like it was a void, something was lacking.
So Yisrael Kappenstein came to me and asked me, he's like, David, you want to start this morning kollel that they have in Lakewood? And I'm like, what, Kollel Ohr Shmuel? He's like, yeah. I said, it's not for me. Like, it's no way I'm waking up early in the morning. When I was living in Lakewood, people approached me about it. I'm not a morning person. It's not happening. Everyone knows that this past year, the community in Cleveland got hit very hard with the Meron tragedy. It was something that hit home. And I was being with Menachem Avel, the Cohn family, and I'm sitting there in the back, and I didn't know Yossi Cohn. I didn't know the Cohns at all. And it was something that I felt when I walked out that, what am I going to do? What are we going to do as a community? What are we going to do that's going to be different, that's going to change from our day-to-day? And I was thinking of myself, like, what could I do? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm not a morning guy, but I'm going to become a morning guy. I called Yisrael, and I said, Yisrael, let's go. We're doing this. That Shabbos, I went around in shul. I started asking guys, hey, you want to come join a morning kollel? And before you know it, we had a few guys that said they wanted to start. I called up Rabbi Sonnenschein.
By the time Shabbos was over, and actually I think this was Sunday afternoon, he came over to me and he said, suppose we have 45, 50 guys signed up. I could not believe it. Said that there's no way, we've never had anything like that. I don't know who you're talking to over here, but there are not going to be no 45, 50 guys coming to learn in the morning. It's never happened. Within a couple of days, this was right before Shavuos, we had a grand opening, 40 people showed up in the morning, we had a big breakfast to start. This was a completely different level, nothing that the community over here in Cleveland has ever seen. The whole Lutsk idea, which I was not familiar with, which David Meisels, with his fire, was able to bring over here to Cleveland.
We went down there for one night. They had a Siyum next morning in the kollel. It's incredible to see how people are taking this exact formula of just Ohr Shmuel and Neshama, of the warmth of everybody. You come, you start your day in the morning, you learn, you daven, you come home, you're smiling, you give danishes to your children. Your entire day is full of bracha.
Once I met Fivish and Maishi, you can tell where this is all starting from. I mean, the fire, the passion, the warmth, the excitement is contagious. And we feel it over here, and the credit, from what I see, is all theirs. And what David Meisels has been able to start over here is unlike anything we've seen, unlike anything the community has seen in the morning. Then it's not just the learning, it's not just the people coming and enjoying and the learning and the donuts afterwards and the coffee, which David Meisel sits there every single night, no matter what time it is, setting up all that coffee, 4 different types, the Ohr Shmuel special blend. Everyone's excited, everyone's into it, and the chaverschaft that everyone feels, I think, is a game changer for the community.
I speak to some people and they tell me, how can I do this in my community? And I tell them, Every person that's sitting there in the base medrash had that same question. But what they did was, they said, Rebbeinu Shalom, I want to do that. And that wanting, that ratzin, brought them to the next level. Without each and every one of you, there is no Kollel Ohr Shmuel.
What Kollel Ohr Shmuel means to me, well, it's a bunch of multitudes of people getting together to start their day better. And it's a battle. It's a Mechemes mitzvah, and we have tremendous Siyata D'Shmai, and everyone gets up with the singular task of learning. And it's just unbelievable by 8 o'clock in the morning feeling that you had an accomplished day already, and there's only more to come.
Everyone comes in there, everyone's accepting, everyone just comes in, everyone feels together. You feel comfortably here. So it's a really great place to start your day, and it gives atzlacha to the rest of the day.
You walk in and the roar of Torah really just hits you as soon as you walk in. Even the breakfast that you have over here, it's kind of remarkable that there's a place like this right in Lakewood.
The amount of light and what it does to my day is truly incredible.
It's a very special way to wake up in the morning and learning together with this tremendous brand and geschmack with hundreds of people.
My day has changed, my family's life has changed. Everyone sees the most important thing is starting off the day on the right foot.
There's also an incredible feeling of camaraderie, of achdus, everyone's together and kids about each other.
I just joined the Kollel very recently, and it's already changed my life amazingly. I have tremendous hakaras tov to Zalman and Fivish. They just took me in, and so much support. It's just unbelievable.
Coming here and seeing a full parking lot, now 2 full parking lots with hundreds of cars and hundreds of people learning, it's as if it's the middle of first Seder.
Usually when you want to go learn, there's like a resistance, something holds you back. When it comes to the morning Kollel Ohr Shmuel, it's the opposite. There's like an energy, there's like a fire under me. Every morning that wants to run to shul and be there with my friends, with my beloved Rav.
Before this, I was in bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I was living in pain, and this did something unbelievable. I saw the video of the little boy. I said, I have to come join. When I came in, to hear the roaring of Torah, to me was unbelievable. And I have tiskul misses to the Rav, and Moshe Gelis, and everyone for giving me the opportunity of doing this.
The sense of togetherness that flows in this kollel is something that you will never see anywhere else. And that gives me a purpose, gives me strength, and inspires me.
There's no better way to starting your morning at Kollel Ohr Shmuel. It just gets your day started. It gets your energy, blood flowing. You're ready to start your day. I always say breakfast is the best meal to have. Kollel Ohr Shmuel is the best breakfast to have. It just gives you the energy to keep going.
From the day I went to work, this is what kept me grounded and attached to Torah. I don't know where I'll be without this.
Thank you, Moshe, for being on top of this beautiful kollel in Talimor. It brings everyone in the community together at 6 o'clock in the morning, where everyone steigs away.
The amount of chizuk that it gives the entire community, having 50, 60 guys come 6 o'clock in the morning and learn and start their day off with Torah, it's unbelievable how it's a chizuk for myself, it's a chizuk for the entire olam.
You can see the Siyata D'Shmai it brings to my day every day when I'm get up early to learn.
To start my day off the right way, it changes everything. Starts the day off on the right foot and changes the whole atmosphere of the rest of the day.
Kollel Ohr Shmuel is amazing Kiddush Hashem. It's a beautiful thing that everybody comes out so early in the morning.
Every person who walks through these doors is exposed to Kol Torah, and each person adds to the Kol Torah.
I walked into Lutsk one morning. I was actually coming to check out Kinyan Masechta, and I was absolutely blown. If you're not part of it, come join. Check out Kollel Ohr Shmuel just one morning and you'll be hooked.
One of the biggest Rosh Kollels today is Hayeled Oliver Shalom Shmuel Gelis. If he would have lived over 100 years, he wouldn't have been able to put together such a kollel. Look what Hashem did. Hashem took him 4 years of his life, brought him down, and he was able to accomplish what people don't accomplish in more than one lifespan. Look what he did. Look what's going on over here. If somebody would have to run around to kollel him and try to get people to get up in the morning to learn, it wouldn't work. 4 years somebody came down in this world, he had a special neshama, special family. That's what gave it Ohr Shmuel. It's amazing.
We have a tremendous thanks to Moshe and Batsheva for starting this kollel, for taking a time of tragedy and giving us all an opportunity that we have changed our lives. We changed our days. We changed our children, our wives, ourselves. We're all different people because we start our day in Kollel Ohr Shmuel.
My dream and my vision is that each kehillah in Klal Yisrael should have a Kollel Ohr Shmuel, and I believe everybody could have it. And I have no doubt that the Torah, the Chesed, the Achdus that goes through Kollel Ohr Shmuel is something that's going to bring the Geula. And the Rebbeinu Shalom should give us the Siyata D'Shmaya, this coming year, to have Kollel Ohr Shmuel in the entire Klal Yisrael in Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh and Peir V'Yameinu.
You might not know the person name behind you, but you're part of Kollel Ohr Shmuel, and you know you're part of a special family.
Hoidel Hashem Kitayv Kilioilam Chazdai. Hakaras HaTayv we have for the Rebbeinu Shalom tonight. We look around the room, what a Kiddush Hashem it is to sit with hundreds and hundreds of people that get up Ashmiras HaBaiker to be Makash with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Each and every person in this room makes the Kollel Ohr Shmuel what it is. Every person that helps support the Kollel is a partner in that Torah. We thank everybody for coming tonight, the Kollel family and friends. As well, we would like to thank Moshe and Mrs. Steele for putting together this most beautiful, beautiful event tonight. Mr. and Mrs. Skast for putting together the beautiful audio and video. Of course, to my Ishes Chayil Batsheva for always being a backbone of this Kollel. May the Rebbeinu Shalom bench each and every one of us who come to the Yom Nairoim for the Gemar Chasim Tova, good gebenched yar, in every single aspect of our lives. Before we say a few kapitals of Tehillim, there's one person that deserves a Karas HaTayv. There's no words of thank you to that person. Feivish Waxman and his Rebbitzin. For 24/7, 365 days a year, being Isaac in the Kollel, morning after morning, night after night, it does not leave his mind, and he does everything possible to make this happen. And of course, our Rav Shlita, Reb Zalman, should be gebenched, does everything possible in every way to bring that simcha into the Kollel. A bracha for Feivish and his wife. There's nothing we could give him to say thank you, but if everybody could answer amen, the Rebbeinu Shalom should bench Feivish, his wife, with Siyata D'Shmaya, L'mala Miderech HaTeva, something they've never seen. And of course, the biggest bracha, V'setzaenu, V'setzoi, Amcha Beis Yisrael, Feivish, his children, L'doirei Doiros, should have the schos to carry on in the way Feivish does, the Simchas HaChayim, what he does for all the Yidden. And Eretz Hashem, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to bench him with bracha ad b'lidai. A Siyum is an Eis Rotzain, and a Siyum like this, where the Olam comes together, when the whole world is sleeping, and everybody comes to learn the Heilige Torah, the Rischa D'Oraisa, there's no words to say, and the Rebbeinu Shalom knows the tefillas of us, of every single person over here, is so powerful. Of course, when we say Kapitel Tehillim, we should have everybody in mind. We should only simchas this year in our Kollel, in Klal Yisrael. the Noam Elimelech brings down the greatest form of tefillah is to daven for the Shechina. The tzarasam leitzar. Every Yid that goes through a tzara, the Rebbeinu Shalom feels that pain. And when we daven for the Shechina Akdaisha, the Golos HaShechina, we're davening for everybody. So if we could all stop for a moment, we'll say to Kapitlach, B'umke de Liba and Emerz Hashem, the schos for the Tehillim from the Olam over here, we're going to be Zeicha to a full Geula Shalema this year, Meheirav Yameinu. Shir Lamaloi, Sasoina Yelor, Me'ayin Yavo Yazri. Azri Me'yem Adoino, Yoseh Shemayim Voret. Al Yitei Namoy Taglecho, Al Yonom Shoimrecho. Hinei Lo Yonom V'lo Yishon Shomei Yisrael. Adonai Shoimrecho, Adonai Tzilcho Yad Yiminecho. Yoim HaShemesh Lo Yakek, Av Yoreach Ba'loilo. Adonai Yishmorcho, Mikol Ra Yishmor Es Nafshecho. Adonai Yishmor Tzeis Chavayecha, Mi'atov Yad Olam. Shira Malois, Mimamakim, Kirosicha Adonai. Adonai Shema B'Koili, Ti'anoz Necha Shuvos L'Kol Tachanunai. Im Avoinoi Tishmaya, Adonai Mi Yamoid. Kimcha Aslicha Leman Tivarei. Kivisi Adonai, Kivsa Nafshi Udvarei Cholti. Nafshi L'Adonai, Misharim L'Aboiker, Shomirim L'Aboiker. Yachel Yisrael El Adonai, Kim Adonai Yachesed V'Arei Moifedos. V'hu Yiftes Yisrael, Mikol Avoinoi Som. Acheinu Kol Beis Yisrael, Anesunim Batzoru V'Ashivyoim, V'vei Mayam V'vei Mayabosh, Amokim Rachim Aleim V'yetzim Yitzor L'Irvacho, V'afil Yoyro V'shiv L'Giyula, Ashto B'Golz Mankriv V'nei Amen.
We ask if the Olam could please stay standing. We have over here the Chazan from Eretz Yisrael, Yisrael Adler, who's going to be saying Yokel Molei Rachamim.
loy meid mit de yoim be yoim ve zochol sayem masachtes tanis veroy shashono lilu inishmusu
Shekoyach Rabbi Yisrael. Rabbi said, when Fivish asked me about making a Siyum 3 days before Yom Kippur, if it's an appropriate time to make a Siyum, I told Fivish I couldn't find a more appropriate time than 3 days before Yom Kippur. Be'emes, Yom Kippurim is the day of Kabbalah Satayra, of the Luchas Shniyos. And Be'emes, the Siyum HaTorah should be on Yom Kippurim. There's no greater way to prepare for Yom Kippurim with a chizik in Liman HaTorah. We have 3 days of Kollel left before Yom Kippur. If every single person in this room could be mekabel on themselves that the next 3 days to come on time to the Kollel would be a tremendous chizik, the schus that we would have going into Yom Kippurim, the chizik of Torah, it's worth every penny to the whole Siyum. The chizik HaTorah that we'll have over the next 3 days going, there's no greater way to prepare ourselves for Yom Kippurim. We ask if the Olam could please be quiet as we make the Siyum. Rabbi Sai, the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Acha bar Avira in the end of Rosh Hashanah, Amar Rab Shimon Chassid, the Poitoyer Rab Gamliel Afila Am Shebesadis, that Rab Gamliel said that he would patter up even the Am Shebesadis. V'loi boi Hani de Kaima Ocha. And not only the Am Shebesadis, but even those that are standing over here. Adarabba, Hani Anisi, Hani Loy Anisi. The Gemara says Adarabba. The ones that are Besadis, they're Anusim, but the ones that are here are not Anusim. Tani Rabba Bar Breder Abiyam Bachia. Am Shachoye Kahanim Menim Machlal Bracha. The people that are not in front of the Kahanim, B'Shas when the Kahanim, to Birchas Koyen and Manap Machlal the Bracha. Al Kiyasa Rav and Amr Rab Yaakov Aridi, Amr Rab Shimon Chasid, Loi Potter Agamil, Ela Am Shebesadis. Rab Gamliel wasn't Poiter, only the Am Shebesadis. My time Mishum Danisim Malacha, because their honest for Malacha will be ear loy, those that are be'ir, that they're not Anisim, and they're able to daven, they're not Potter. Hadin Allah Yamtiv, Misalikallah, Mesechtes Roshana. Now we ask Rabbi Kaufman to please come up and be Messiah, Mesechtes Chagig, and say the Hadron. Mesechtes Tainis and say the Hadron.
Before I finish and say the Hadron, in the name of all those in Waterbury, Connecticut, who are zeicha to be on the hashpah of the olam over here, I'd like to say that distance, physical distance, we are 3 hours away. But in ruchnius, in our spiritual closeness to all of you, we are aduk v'davak to everybody learning over here. And we appreciate that chevrishaf and that achdus. The Gemara in Tainis says, Amar Ula b'yira, Amar Rebbe Elazar, Asir HaKadosh Baruch Hu lasos machol tzadikim. Eventually HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make a circle for all the tzadikim, who yoshev b'neihem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be amongst them b'Gan Eden, v'chol echad.
Rabbi Sai covered Torah. Just another few minutes. If everyone could please remain quiet for the duration of the Siyum.
And everybody of that circle is going to point with his finger. Shenemar v'omar b'yom hahu. And we said that day, Hine Elokeinu zeh. This is our HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Elokeinu's midas hadin. Kivinu lai. We placed our hopes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our aspirations in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that it should be a geula. We're sitting in Golis. V'yoshienu. And he's going to have a salvation. And then after that, Yeshua, we're going to say, Zeh Hashem, the midas harachmim. Zeh Hashem kivinu lai. We placed our hope in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now that we have the Yeshua, Nagila v'nismecha b'Yeshuasai. And every time we have a Siyum, and there's a machal, and there's a dancing around, and everybody ba'achtas, that is a me'ain of this pasuk of Zeh sorry, Nagila v'nismecha b'Yeshuasai. Hajan alach b'shlosha prakim, uslika Allah b'seches tainis. Hajan alach b'seches tainis, b'Rosh Hashanah, v'Hadra Chalon. Daita alach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, v'Daita Chalon. Lo nisnashon minach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, lo nisnashon minon. Lo ba'alma hadei, lo ba'alma da'asi. Hajan alach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, v'Hadra Chalon. Daita alach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, v'Daita Chalon. Lo nisnashon minach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, lo nisnashon minon. Lo ma'alma hadei, lo ba'alma da'asi. Hajan alach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, v'Hadra Chalon. Daita alach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, v'Daita Chalon. Lo nisnashon minach b'seches tainis b'seches Rosh Hashanah, lo nisnashon minon. Lo ma'alma hadei, lo ma'alma da'asi. Yirotzam u'fanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'hei avosenu, shetehei torascha u'naseinu b'olam hazeh, u'sehei imanu l'olam haba. Chanina bar Papa, Rami bar Papa, Nachman bar Papa, Achai bar Papa, Abba Mari bar Papa, Rafa bar Papa, Rachish bar Papa, Morcha bar Papa, Ado ben Park bar Papa, Dor bar Papa. V'harevna Adonai Eloheinu es divrei soroscha b'finu, b'fios amcha beis Yisrael, v'niya kulanu, anachnu v'tzeseinu v'tzesei amcha beis Yisrael, kulanu yoidei shemecha v'lomdei sorosecha, me'oivayte chakmini mitzvosecha, ki lo'olam hili, libi t'amim b'chukecha l'man lo evash, lo'olam lo eshkach b'chudecha, ki vamchi yisoni, baruch ato Adonai, lamdeini chukecha, Amen, 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 salvaed. Moide manach und vernacha neil hinu v'yavasenu, shesamte chalkenu v'yoshve beis hamedrash, lo samte chalkenu v'yoshve kronos. She'anu mashkimu v'hem mashkimu. Anu mashkimu divrei Torah. V'hem mashkimu divrei b'telem. Anu amelum v'hem amelum. Anu amelum mekabel socha. V'hem amelum v'einu mekabel socha. Anu rotzen v'hem rotzen. Anu rotzen v'chay olam haba. V'hem rotzen v'shachas. Shenema v'atel him toridelu v'shachas. Anshe domu mirma lo yechsu yemeim v'ani eftach bach. Yirotzo v'decha noy Eloheinu Elohai Kishem shezatanu l'sayim meseches tainus u'meseches Rosh Hashanah kein tazreinu lahaska meseches u'svarim acherim u'saimam Vilma l'lam edish v'lasos l'kayim es kol divrei Talmud Torasech b'yava u'zuchus kol atanoim v'amoroim v'salmidei chachamim yamad lanu l'zareinu shlo yomo shatayim mefinu v'fi zareinu v'zera zareinu ad olam Diskayim banu b'salecha tancha oisach v'shachmecha tishma lecha v'kisoisa hisisisecha kivi yebu yamecha v'yosiv l'chosh nos chayim orech yomim b'yimino b'smoila oisha v'chavoid Adonai oiz la'amo yitein Adonai yivareches amo v'shalom.
Yiskadal v'yiskadal shmei rabo V'yalmodu osid l'ischadoso l'chayo meisayo U'lasoko yosoin l'chaye olmo L'mivnei katod yushleim u'l'shachlo lo hechlei begavo U'lemekar polchono nuchro minaro u'lasavo U'la'asavo polchono dishmayo L'asrei v'yamlich kucho brichu b'malchusei V'korei b'chayechoin v'yemechoin v'chay d'chol beis Yisrael Ba'agolo v'zman kariv imru amen Yehei shmei rabo mevarach Li'olam ul'olmei olmayo Yisbarach v'yishtabach v'yispar v'yisreman v'yisnasei V'yisador v'yisalev v'yisalol Shmei d'kucho brichu Leilo u'leilo mikol birchoso v'shiraso Tush b'choso v'nechemoso Damiron b'yolmo v'imru amen Al Yisrael v'al Rabbanon v'al Talmidei Hoin v'al kol Talmidei Salmidei Hoin v'al kol Mondo Oskin B'Raisa Diva Asra Hodein v'diva Chol Asar v'Asar Yehei Lohoin Lohoin Shlom Rabo Chino v'Chista v'Rachamin v'Chayin Arichin Zoin Revichei U'Furkana Mikodam Abu Hoin v'Shmaya v'Arav Imru Amen Yehei Shlom Rabo Min Shemaya v'Chaim Toivim Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael v'Imru Amen Oiseh Shalom b'Mremo v'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael v'Imru Amen
Please take your seats. The witness is being
Tremendous chus that we have the Rosh Hashiva, Hagoner Bitzlach Siratzkin, say Divrei Bracha on behalf of this unbelievable simcha. Shh. We ask everybody to please, please, please.
Kvoid, de Chosheve, More de Asre, von Mois des Lutsk, mein Teier Sohn, Rav Zalman Shlita, and Yedidenu Hayokor, Yedid Hashem, the Moshe Gelis, who spearheaded all these koilelim that we see here tonight, 14 koilelim, and I told my son, the Rambam in his monumental work made Yad HaChazokeh. He made 14 Svorim, and they're known as the Yad HaChazokeh. And my son immediately told me, the gematria of Chazokeh is 120, and we're planning to continue and Emir Hashem to establish 120 koilim Kain Yirbu. Today we are celebrating an unusual Siyum. The Gemara tells us in Masechta Shabbos that Abaye, when one Talmid was Zoicha to be Messiah a Masechta, he made a yontif with a lavish Suda for the whole yeshiva. You can imagine how great the Simcha is when hundreds and hundreds of Messiahim are here tonight. It's a Mishunadika Simcha. This is a yontif of Simchas Torah. The Beis Halevi explains Simchas Torah means not only we are celebrating our Simcha, but it's the Torah itself that is happy. And when the Torah and Kollel Yisrael are happy, Chazal tell us the Ribono Shel Olam is also joining the Simcha. So there's no question that the Ribono Shel Olam is here tonight with us, celebrating with everybody this Gewaltige Simchas HaTorah. I want to bring out something unique about this Siyum, about this Simcha. You know, we know that all the brachas come from learning Torah. The Torah in Parshas Bechukoisai, which talks about Limud HaTorah, Amal HaTorah, and the Torah brings out that through learning Torah, you're zoichet to all the brachas. We're zoichet to Sholem in Eretz Yisrael. My Zayda, the Lutzkerov, Ben Gurion came to him and he told him he wants him to tell all the yeshivas that they should go to join the army. And he told him, Ben Gurion, the more Torah, we won't need an army, because the Torah promises us, in Bechukoisei Telechu, you will have peace and sholem. But the Torah tells us, in case we do have to go to battle, 5 people will win against 100 enemies, and 100 soldiers against 10,000 soldiers. And the number doesn't seem to stim. 5 chases 100, it means 20 times as much. And if I say 100 can run after 10,000 enemies, that means that each one could run after 100 enemies.
So Chazal tell us, Ein adoime, merubi ma'oisin es ha-Torah, lemuati ma'oisin es ha-Torah. And the Lutzkerov explains this from Ishver, my Elter Zayder, Reblazer Gordon. And he explained that when two people make up a Chavrusashaft early in the morning, each person who comes to that Seder has two mitzvahs. He has a mitzvah of Limud HaTorah for himself, and he has a part in the Limud HaTorah of his Chaver. Because if he wouldn't come one day, then the Chavrusaship will dissipate. It will get weak. And each one helps the other by coming. And he explains that when 10 people learn together, then each person has 10 mitzvahs. Your own mitzvah, and the fact that you give a chizuk and you're goyrim 10 other people to learn Torah. And when there's a group of 100, so then every person has 100 mitzvahs. Every individual that comes to the Rabbim has a chelik in 100 limud HaTorah. So when you have 100 people learning together, it's as if each one is 100 mitzvahs, and therefore they could come and conquer 10,000 enemies. Each one has a power of 100. So you can imagine the greatness when hundreds of Talmidim get together, hundreds of Loim Dei Torah get together, how great the schos, how big the Chelek HaTorah of each and every one of you is. And when you come in an early time in the day when it's difficult, and people are doing above and beyond, they have a tremendous schos of Simchas HaTorah, a tremendous schos in this gewaltige Koyach HaRabim of Torah. You know, the Yam Shloime questions, why at a Siyum we don't say Hasimcha b'moinoi? We know that by a Chasana and a Pidyon Haben we say Hasimcha b'moinoi. And he would think there's no greater Simcha than Simchas HaTorah. So if there's no greater Simcha than Simchas HaTorah, so that's the place that we should certainly say Shal Simcha b'moinoi. And I believe the reason we don't say Shal Simcha b'moinoi is Simcha b'moinoi means the Simcha is in Shemayim. There's a rakia that's called Mo'oin. And what that means is when you do a mitzvah, the mitzvah is not done for Simcha. We know there's a klal mitzvahs lav lehenes nitnu. But Torah is the one mitzvah that was given for enjoyment and for pleasure. Pikudei Hashem Yeshorim Misamchi Leiv. When you learn Torah, there's no greater happiness that a person can achieve only from learning Torah. So we can't say Hasimcha b'moinoi because the Simcha is here. Everybody who learns Torah feels such an elation, such a happiness. And I saw it to my own eyes coming into the Beis Medrash. Early in the morning, you could see the tremendous Simcha that everybody has from learning Torah. The Simcha is unbelievable. This is the real Simcha Shel Mitzvah, the Simcha of Torah. Harav Bengis, Zichroino Levocha, was one of the biggest Messiahim in the last Dairis. And he questioned, why don't we make the Simcha before we begin? And why do we wait to make the Simcha after we finish the Masechta? It would seem like we're making a happiness that we got it over with. It would seem to be more appropriate to make the Simcha before we begin. And the answer is the Iker Simcha V'Siyum is not for what we completed, but rather this is going to be an impetus for us to continue on to learn another Masechta. Like in the Hadran we say, Kishem Shavzartani, L'sayim Masechta Zu, Kein Tazreini, L'sayim Masechta Acheres, and Svorim Acheri. So the Simcha is not just for finishing the Masechta, but for the fact that we're going to continue on for more Masechtas. And the Kloisenberger Rebbe once questioned, a person can learn 150 blot in Baba Basra, and he doesn't make a Siyum, he doesn't make a Simcha, and a person could finish a small Masechta, and he makes a Siyum. And he explains that when a person learns 150 dafim, he has nothing to give him the drive to continue to learn again farther. But when you finish a Masechta, you get a Malach. And the Malach is going to give you the push and the koyach to continue from one Masechta to another Masechta. So the Simcha, when we finish a Masechta, is that we're going to continue from one Masechta to another Masechta. That is the Iker Simcha. You know, I want to conclude with a Toned Ve'Eliyahu. The Toned Ve'Eliyahu says that Moshiach is not going to come only b'schus HaTorah. And the Toned Ve'Eliyahu says, when 10 people get together and learn b'chabura, they have a koyach to bring Moshiach. But there's something interesting about the Toned Ve'Eliyahu. The Toned Ve'Eliyahu says, when the chabura learns with a kol rom, when they learn the koilam nishma, when they learn with a loud koil, then that Torah is chaviv by the Ribono Shel Olam. When there's excitement in the learning, that's what can bring Moshiach. I have to say that the first time I walked into the Kollel, when I came there early in the morning, and I heard the Kollel HaTorah that's present by this Chabura, by the Loin de Torah, I was glued to my spot. I couldn't move. I was in a trance. I saw something unusual, that the whole Beis Medrash from one end to the other, there was such a kol HaTorah. I got so excited, so overwhelmed from it, and it reminded me of a story that I want to share with you. You know, Reb Sholem Shvadran, the Maggid from Yerushalayim, used to say over a story that took place in the early 1960s. He was in Denver, and he says at that time, nobody was learning in the Bati Midrashim. The Bati Midrashim were locked after davening. They weren't open before davening. And he comes into a Beis Medrash in Denver, and he sees one Chavrusa shop there, sitting and learning a whole first Seder. So he was wondering, what are they doing learning? Who are these people? And he walks over to one of the people, and he asks him, who is he? And he says, I have to tell you, I'm a Ger. I converted to Yiddishkeit. And he told him the story, how he converted. He says he was in the Navy, and the enemy torpedoed his boat. And when the enemy torpedoed his boat, a piece of shrapnel lodged itself next to his brain. And because it lodged itself next to his brain, they couldn't operate. It was dangerous to operate, and he was paralyzed. Now, when he was paralyzed, he couldn't do anything. His mind was clear, but he couldn't do anything. Now, he decided, since he has so much time, he's going to start studying religion. And he started studying one religion after another religion, until he finally came across the Yiddish religion. The more he saw about the Yiddish religion, the more he recognized it's the Emes religion. And he decided to become a convert, to become a ger. And he started learning Torah. And the more he learned Torah, the more he wanted to learn. He wanted to become a Talmid Chochem. So he decided his life's mission is going to be to learn Torah. All the while that he was an invalid, that he was paralyzed, the Navy was paying for they were paying for all his expenses. But he told something strange happened. When he decided to become a ger, he felt a change taking place in his body, and it felt to him like the sharpnel moved in the body. The next time he came to check himself by the doctor told him, the sharpnel is now away from your brain, and you're not paralyzed anymore. And we're going to give you therapy until you could get back to yourself, and we'll give you a job. And he didn't want to work. So he complained to the Navy, and he said he wants them to pay for him, that he should be doesn't have to go to work. And wherever he went to court, he lost the court. Till finally the court was the admiral's court. And the admiral called him into his office, and the admiral said to him, "Why are you fighting? Why don't you want to go to work? Aren't you happy that you're not anymore paralyzed?" And he says, "Admiral, it's too difficult for me to explain it to you." But the admiral says, "Why don't you try?" And he told him, "I have to tell you, I want to become a Talmid Chacham." When the admiral heard that he wants to be a Talmid Chacham, he said to him, "Did you say a Talmid Chacham? Is that what you said?" He said, "Yeah, that's what I said." He says, "If that's what you want to be, I'm going to support you for my own money. I'm going to make sure that you could sit and learn and become a Talmid Chacham." He was amazed at why should the admiral decide to support him to sit and learn Torah, Goyish admiral. And the Goyish admiral explained to him, and he said to him, "You know what happened when I was taking my submarine? We submerged my submarine in enemy territory, and all the gears were shot, and nothing worked, and we lost contact with the whole world. All our things that we could use to get a contact, nothing was operating, and we were under the water, and we were doomed to die. And it was so difficult. Every day I used to have to get on the boat and try and pick up the spirits of everybody in this boat." But he happened to notice that there was a group of people that were never around, and he didn't know what happened to this group of people. So he decided one day, the curiosity took him over, that he's going to search through the boat to see where these people are. He finally walked to the bottom level of the boat, and he came to a room, and he says when he came by a certain room, he froze in his tracks. And he says, "You know what happened? I heard people singing on this boat." And he said, "I was wondering, how is it possible? You can't imagine. Everybody was looking to die. They were sprawled on the floors. They had no ambition to do anything. They knew they're dying sooner or later. And here he hears a group of people singing." So he knocked on the door, and he says, "By the order of the admiral, open up the door." And they opened up the door, and he saw a group of people learning around different tables. And he says, "What is this? Is this witchcraft? What are you doing here?" He saw these old books, and he saw them learning, and he didn't understand what happened here. So they told him, "This is Torah. And when we have Torah, there's nothing can get our spirits down. We're the happiest people under any situation." And the end of the story was, he said, "I know what Torah is. I understand what Torah really means. Torah, I know, is something that gives you life, and vitality and purpose in direction in life. And the Admiral himself was the one that was supporting this gear to sit and learn. This is the koyach of Torah. You hear the koil HaTorah, the simcha, that permeates the Beis Medrash in Lutsk. And I would think the same as in all the other koilim. Such a simcha HaTorah, such a kiddush Hashem, such a kovod Shemayim. This is what can bring us to Mashiach, this type of learning. And we want to just finish with the Zohar. The Zohar says that the first three Geulas came because of the Ovis. The last Geula, what we're all looking forward to, is going to be B'schus Moshe. And the Or HaChaim HaKodesh writes in Parshas Tetzaveh, the reason why we're not yet Zoicha to the Geula is because Moshe wants everybody to become part of the Torah. And when everybody will learn Torah, then Moshe Rabbeinu will take out Klal Yisrael from Golis. We're almost there. The revival of Torah that we're witnessing. I grew up in America when it was a void America. The shuls were closed, the Bati Midrashim were closed. You couldn't find people learning, and today you can't find a Beis Medrash that they're not learning Torah. There's so much limud HaTorah. Continue to learn Torah and let the koilim continue to grow till finally we'll get to the level of a Kollel Ohr Shmuel Hashem, that everybody will learn Torah, and B'Korav we will be Zoicha to be as Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'Meira V'Yamein.
größer Schkoer von jeder der Pele, Juda Silberberg, für so schein herrlich singen, also warm, ungewarmte Herzen. Stehen wir alle zusammen. Beim Käse los zwischen Shishuni und Kippe, everyone. Chaps, another mitzvah, another zechia, liyom adin. Also ich scheine, als herrlich als Siyum. Und wir singen ein bisschen zusammen in Ginem. Wir können immer nach Benkel, sich heraussetzen. Zwei, bringen an die Oilem, sind immer bänklich, sich herimsetzen, durch Schein, singen mit der Ruhigkeit. Kimi roini balaylu, leroy shashmirois. Wir singen alle zusammen. Der Heilige Beschäfer geehrt. Wir sind mal in Mamlech gewesen. A ganzer Shishune, zum geschrien am Melech. Als die bist der einzigste König. Even though we went through a year full of sorrow, full of pain. Mit dem Allem sucht man Heilige Beschäfer und sagt man Kabel, Malchus schon mal. Als alles ist Latoive, an die bist der König, der Beure im Mammig. Und ins beten wir noch, Heilige Beschäfer, sadig schon Megalle. Ins weiß man, ins Gleimer, die bist König, aber ins will man sehen, Leroy ist bis Seferes, ist Echo. So schon kommen die Zeit, man soll sehen mit den eigenen Augen, wie groß, wie riesig du bist, Heilige Beschäfer. Jetzt geht Kimi Kippur, Eizem von dem Tag ist Mechaper, die Heiligkeit von dem Tag ist Mechaper. Kvayoy ma zei Chaper leichen mit Aretz mit Kollel Ohr Shmuel Lifnai Hashem Teturi Oyoy v'yal kila v'yal kila Eloi kai selicho יחילו לוקאי וספרה קידש השם בזיארה אז ההלך יצמר מסיים גבי נשכינה auf Pune blit bezei אשר דיקאלה אוי ישינו איזי דה heilige Teure Rugen wir uns ist besäuß am Teure und der Fehl ist in der Neu Also ich gehe mit, sie gehen an mich, Akut oi mi adoyre Doyre Es gibt mit der heilige Teure Zere geknipt, in gebindet, in an teure Chaviko mit de Viko ba. Lodom lioda, Machile. Heilige Waschef, Geist ins Bringen, heute weißt du viel aus sie. Oh Shefer, Salachnu Lavoinu Almazeh. Heilige Shefer, es ist schwer in Asagules. Oi kik auf in seine Zeugnis, oi belebe bepei. Der Eibisch die Geist und es lach, die Kidurechu, vayoi merashem. Sag gewalt, die Gerachmunes. Jeder auf dem Herzen von dir. Bei ihm Kippur selber ist gekrieben, Malach hayom. Und mit ihm mit dem weißen Kittel. Wie am Malach, wie Asur. Dit jeder Jid in och betam jaskeloi oi mamisse Himmel so mit viel Sakai auch geschwür de Tafkit von der Welt tippes in der Mannen Heilige Washefer nur ein Tachlis ist du Vani kirbis alikim nitoy Lissanai gal Hashem b'chalai sofroshu Nichluir nidal heilig hoi Heilig Vashefer kikirive Eliyoi Schemmel, Reibisch der Zahn, bei Joi Mahi. Wir gehen hier in der Lava, ich kann die Reibisch dich jetzt auch gedenken. Wir müssen jetzt suchen, aber es hier ein Teufel meinte. Aber es hier nur, da in der Welles. Wir schicken Kimmer, und es gehalten werden, als alles ist Teufel. En we zoeken naar veel van besieren hoe hoog gaat Toy bij mij te. Deze beter is, deze zaak en God. De Hoyo Hashem, de Melech HaKodesh. Oy de Hoyo Hashem, Melech
איזה יופי.
Jetzt haben wir singen an Ning. Den Ning haben wir gemacht. Ich finde, die geweldige Woede, was wir hebben me geleerd. De beide nacht met mijn feige. Och Hashem had zich hier. Es gaat er veel. 10 Uhr was me voelt schon die Schuhe auf Oma. Aber gemacht, anigen Kilo Salz und Nafshi Lishoel, Lesita and Chassid Cholil Shuchas. Which this kapitel is the eerste kapitel van Tikkun HaKluli. En we zingen nu, Avalde. En we zingen nu Kilo Salz und Nafshi Lishoel. Shine Yetzaran, Yoin Kippur Shil. Lifnai Hashem Tituri, der Eibischte rein, liegt in Zog. Der Eibischte senkt in sein Herz, in sein Gefühl, in sein Geschrei, wo's mir schreien noch. Der Heilige Balschäfer geht ins nicht verlassen, kein Mut. Ich hab ein, an das Benai Yisru. Seht in der Zeugnis, seht in der Ehrlichkeit, in Azadon, in der Nacht, in Zanam, Besikas Shulai, in Zalechtigon. Vaud, Kilo Isaz, Vaud, Kilo Isaz, in Alavam, Shirishayah. Grai, wir gehen singen bald Mare, wenn wir singen Fahr Borchi, die Heilige, Heilige.
Something that brings joy to the heart. Without it, we'll perish in our affliction. That's why we say, Lulei Soidoscha. To know that it's our essence, to sink into our soul.
That's something that brings joy to the heart. Without it, we'll perish in our affliction. That's why we say, Lulei Soidoscha. To know that it's our essence, for it to sink into our soul. Lulei Soidoscha.